Good afternoon. This is the Thurston County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Bud Blake, the chair for this year. And this is January 24, 2017. And I'd like to get started by doing the introductions. To my left, we have Commissioner Gary Edwards. And to my right, we have Commissioner Hutchings. To his right, Bonita Bomar, who is the clerk of the board. And to her right is the interim county manager, Ramiro Chavez. And to his right, we have Assistant County Manager and Budget Officer Robin Campbell. And with that in mind, I'd like to ask Commissioner Edwards to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. With that in mind, take a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda for January 24th, 2017.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second to approve the Tuesday, January 24, 2017 agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. And the board minutes for January 10th, 2017.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the board meeting minutes from January 10, 2017.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board minutes for the January 10th, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. So today we have two presentations, and the first one we have Katie Gerard, who's the Director of Human Resources for Thurston County. She's going to give us a background on the Employment Security Department staff and Yes Vets decal program for the county. Katie?
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm happy to be here today to talk about the great work we've been doing in attracting veterans to Thurston County employment. The Employment Security Department started a program last year, and we were one of the first agencies to sign up just to be one of those employers that is supportive of hiring veterans. We are renewing that commitment this year, and so I've got two guests here from the Employment Security Department, Mike Hester, along with Kirk McDonald, who will be presenting our 2017 decal. Mike.
Good afternoon, Commissioners,
Hi, Mike.
and thank you for having us here.
You bet.
This is the second, as Katie said, this is the second year that we're going to be presenting you guys with the Yes Vets decal. And that is, the program was started in February of 2016 to recognize employers that participated and supported hiring vets. So with that said, I will present you Commissioner Bud Blake
Yeah.
with this award.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You want to do it now or when we do the photo?
Oh, it's up to you.
Okay, come on up here now.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
This is, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Mr.
And then- Okay, and for everyone, this is what the decal looks like, and 2016, which they've already posted, and today they received the 2017. Okay.
Sure.
Did you get the handshake?
I want to do a couple things, if I may. All the veterans that are in the room and out in the hallway, I want to take a photo of every single person that's a former served in the military at one point in time. Before we do, I'd like to thank Michael and the Yes Vet and Katie for setting this up. It's absolutely phenomenal the way the county loves to hire vets and their vet families that come along after they transition out of the military. So we are greatly indebted to you for your service, not only in the military and out. So you got to serve your country, now you get to serve your county, and we love that for what you do. And so with that, I'll ask if you have any comments.
Well, the only comment that I have at this point is that I would like to thank all of the vets here that actually make this possible, to make democracy possible, and to make our country free. Thank you very much for your service to the country.
I am surrounded by veterans. My dad was in the Marine Corps, two brothers in the Air Force, my son in the Army. And one thing I will never do is turn my back on veterans. Thank you so very, very much.
So,
I'm happy to report we were able to hire 14 additional veterans into county employment last year, and we're continuing that commitment. And so at this time, I'd like to invite all of the veterans in the room up to the front of the room, and we'll take
Yeah.
a group photo.
We're going to do jumping jacks and flutter kicks. Come on
Thank
up.
you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, parade dress.
Y'all are gonna have to smoosh. Yeah, you guys are gonna need to
Yeah, someone in the middle hold the sign.
Just right dress.
scoot in. Yeah.
Get in there, Vivian. Everybody look at the camera.
Oh, visible. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, teaser.
That's a millennial.
Okay, ready? 1, 2,
millennial.
3. And I'm technically not a
You have a camera.
millennial. Okay, one more. Ready?
Labels
1,
disabled.
2, 3.
Thank you very much.
That's good. I thought we did something wrong.
You should have made an announcement. We're working on doing a Purple Heart deal too.
Yeah, you want to do
You know, just so you know that we're, I don't know.
All righty. So I think with that in mind, I'm gonna ask Mr. Gary Edwards, Commissioner Edwards, to give us an update on the status of the Purple Heart County. Can you do that real quick?
Just a follow-up to the veterans event that we just recognized. We're now working on becoming a Purple Heart County, and that's a group that recognizes veterans for their service, not only those that received a Purple Heart, but for those that have served their country. So I know Vivian's kind of helping us with that, I think. And that'll be coming up on a very near future board meeting. So I just want to again thank all the vets for everything they do.
You bet. So the next item we have on our agenda is a resolution from Thurston County Board of Commissioners recognizing the significant contributions of the USS Olympia. I'm going to ask the interim county manager, Romero Chavez, to walk us through it.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. This is a resolution of the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners recognizing the significant contributions.
Romero, pull the mic closer to you.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me begin again. This is a resolution of the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners recognizing the significant contributions of the namesake submarine USS Olympia, SSN 717. Whereas the USS Olympia, a Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine, was commissioned in November 17, 1984, and whereas the Thurston County Resolution 7934 designated the waters of Thurston County the home port and safe haven for the USS Olympia SSN 717, and whereas the first commanding officer, Captain Bill Hughes, asked the Navy for command of a submarine named after a smaller city in order to establish a relationship with the community. And whereas the Olympia Chamber's Military Affairs Committee formed a USS Olympia subcommittee where some of the original members are still alive today. And whereas the USS Olympia has made a number of goodwill visits to Olympia over the years, but at 32 years old, this may be the last port call of the namesake city. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Thurston County as follows. 1, that the Board of County Commissioners recognizes the significant contributions of the USS Olympia SSN 717 to the national security of the United States of America, and two, that Thurston County is honored to be close relationships maintained with the crew of the USS Olympia to the namesake city of our county seat, the city of Olympia.
Yay. We certainly do have a great appreciation for the USS Olympia and its contributions it's made here to not only Thurston County, but Olympia as a whole in terms of namesake and the relationship that it's built over the years. And we look forward to more years of having that relationship. Anything to comment on that?
No, thank you.
You bet I do.
Go ahead.
It was back in about late 85, early 86 when the USS Olympia first came into port. And I was brand new with the Olympia Police Department on the walking patrol.
That's right.
And the sub of the boat is coming in, and the sailors were on deck, and it was just beautiful. Some protester broke the ranks, ran up and took a big rock and chucked it at the sub and hit it. And I was thrilled to run up and arrest him, and it was on the front page of the Daily Olympian the next day. And the USS Olympia crew treated me like gold. And the newspaper was in the bulletin board as you descended down into the boat for a couple of tours, because when they came back, it was still there. And I have a great respect for the people on board the USS Olympia, especially back then. And we hosted a Super Bowl party at our house with 5 crew chiefs, because they didn't want to spend the time in a smoky bar back then, downtown Olympia. And they were just absolutely bent over backwards for my kids with hats and bells and whistles. And I was able about 10 years ago to ride the USS Olympia from Bangor, wherever it was up there, Bremerton, all the way down to Olympia. And boy, they just treated everybody like royalty. Great crew and a great ship and a great namesake.
Thank you for doing that. No, I'm not throwing a rock at you for sure. So. The next item we have is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And so I have 2 sheets here, and I'll call them up individually.
You want to take action on that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Good correction. Thank you. Let's do that.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the resolution recognizing the significant contributions of the USS Olympia and honoring the close relationship maintained with the USS Olympia to the namesake city, our county seat, and the city of Olympia.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we can move forward with the next item we have is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And as I was saying earlier, we have 2 sheets, and I'll call you up individually. Before we start, I'd like to just say a couple house notes, if you will. The speakers are limited to 3 minutes to address the board, and the meetings cannot donate the meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person, and no comments that are inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminating, and no electioneering. So with that in mind, I'll go down the list. And the first person I have is Mr. Gary Johnson. Hi, Gary.
Hi, how do you do?
Yeah.
Again, thank you, Commissioners, for giving me a chance to dance or to come up here.
Can you
and
speak
talk with
speak
you.
into the mic?
Oh, I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
I'm a professional land surveyor. I've been a land surveyor since 1987. I'm a Vietnam veteran in 68 and 9, and have been a surveyor till now. And funny thing about a land surveyor is that everything he does he actually has to take those surveys to bed with him, and the law is that they're his work, and they're to be kept at his work. And I've been real proud of Thurston County and being out here since about 25 years. My wife and I came out here and started a little business, and we've been doing real good. So my family helps me, and the reason I came here today is I was doing a survey close to one of your people, and Gary and I talked a little bit about, and we were discussing, how I was kind of pulled out because I told Gary we got a couple surveys we got to get it there. It's getting really hard to get things done in there, and he suggested it, and I suggested I'd like to come up and be part of your group to help you get through these entanglements with real surveys and boundaries that are very, very valuable to the people and to the counties and to their whole process, and the worth of your county up to and including the titles and the whole thing. And we strive very hard as professionals to do our job, and only us surveyors and only surveyors can touch a survey. And most judges glean that the surveyor that's standing in front of him in the courthouse is a legal issue. Our survey office goes clear about to 1776, and we've done surveys the same way with the same laws. They're actually federal entities. I'm a federal entity in that all the work I have is done by the feds according to the feds' work all the way back to the beginning of the United States of America, and I'm real proud. And I have one daughter and a son I'm very proud of, and a great wife. I'm part Cherokee, and her dad was in the Battle of Iwo Jima. So, anyway, what I want to do, what I would like to do, is give you the opportunity and give myself the opportunity to be part of your day-to-day work and getting these processes going, and spend some time, and I'll get some other surveyors, see if we can't bring them down here and work out a system. We work directly with your staff and they always do a great job, and they have for a long, long time. A lot of them are our long friends. So, but we've got a younger crowd, and it's kind of stretched out, and I notice things get clogged up pretty easily. And I have over 2,500 surveys right from your county here. So if you don't mind, I'd like to give you a card, and just so you can get a hold of me you want. You got any ideas? And that includes everybody here today.
Gary,
So-
can you give it to the county man?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your words there, sir. All right. The next person we have is Mr. Dan Venable. Hello, Dan.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come up here and speak on a subject.
Can you
that,
pull the mic up just a tad? There
yeah.
you go. All right, there you go.
I said, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come up here and speak on a subject that I think needs some, attention or to be addressed by the commissioners. I've got some pictures here I want to take and give you all a copy of. My name's Dan Venable. I live at 3620 49th Avenue, Southwest Olympia, Washington. I'm a general contractor. I do environmental work and have been in the county for 65 years. So anyway, I'd like to give you some pictures and just kind of point out something that I've been dealing with lately and that I think is this side is stupid. So
Over here, Dan. Thank you.
in the process of doing environmental work, a lot of times we work closely with real estate agents and offices when they're doing the sale of properties in Thurston County here. Part of the service that I provide for real estate companies and property owners is the removal of underground storage tanks, heating oil tanks. Most of those were put in back in the 50s and 60s, and a lot of them leak after a while. And so prior to the purchase of a home, the new buyer is going to request that that tank be removed and that the soil be sampled, tested, anything contaminated be removed and taken care of. I did that here in Thurston County for probably the last 15, 20 years. Here lately, because of our pocket gopher issue, now we have to get a pocket gopher study or a review to remove a tank, which I think is pretty foolish because a pocket gopher is not going to live in a tank, and it's only a 4x6 vessel, usually 375 gallons to 500-gallon tank. When I go and usually when I'm called is usually when a home inspector has looked at the home and the house is already in the process of being sold under contract. And when the inspector comes and he finds that there's a heating oil tank, like on this current one that I just give you the photo of, the man's lived in that house for 20 years, never knew he had a fuel tank. Then when he goes to sell it, he finds out that there's a fuel tank in his backyard. That stops the whole process of the sale until that can take place. And what I'm complaining about more than anything is the length of time it takes to get all the approvals to go in and pull out a fuel tank that only disturbs an area that's about 4 foot wide, 6 foot long, you know, and 6 foot deep, which a pocket gopher couldn't take and tool through that anyway. It's actually helping him if I get it out of the ground, and if it's contaminated, it makes it better ground. But what I've shown you in the photos is this is a residential neighborhood. It was built, it's in Thompson Place. It was built a long time ago, but it's in a pocket gopher area now. Pocket gopher is hibernating, so we can't really tell if he lives there or not. But we still can charge me $182 to take and go out there and look just to see if it looks like an okay area I can pull that tank.
Yeah.
If there is a pocket gopher there, are we going to stop pulling the tank? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking you to do is do the same thing they do with septic tanks. If you have a septic tank and it needs to be repaired, we can repair it whether the pocket gopher lives there or not.
Yep.
And we have a fuel tank. I think we should be able to remove it whether the pocket gopher lives there or not.
Okay.
So
How you do?
that's what I brought to you. That's what I'm asking you to do. And thank you for the time to speak to you about it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All righty. The next person is Jack Grimes. Hi, Jack.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jack Grimes. I live at 6525 76th Avenue Northeast. I have lived there for over 40 years. I am also a Vietnam vet, and I have a little project going with the county that I would like for you guys to get a review of. I have presents for you.
Okay.
One for each. The cover letter is pretty much exactly what I'm going to read to you now with a few additional comments as time permits. I would like to congratulate the new commissioners, and I would like to thank Commissioner Blake for his service. It was good news in the last meeting to hear that you are taking and making some changes with the Thurston County Health Department. I think that there needs to be some similar actions taken within the Department of Planning and especially the Permit Center. You are now in a position to be able to help the residents of Thurston County. The previous commissioners passed ordinances and established policies that were harmful and unnecessary, and I'm going to try to provide you with one example to review to demonstrate that. In the process of trying to build a house on property I've owned for over 40 years, the property is an 8-acre parcel. The zoning is 2+ acres per building lot. The county has advised me I need to submit a short plat application. My application was submitted on November 17th, 2016. Very simple application. One large parcel to 2 parcels. To do this, I have been advised I need to meet some extreme and excessive requirements before the county will approve my application. To date, I have paid the county over $6,000 in fees to do this. I have paid an engineer, a surveyor, and a geologist over $6,000 to do this. And I've been told that there will be several $1,000s more required to make the changes that they want in a simple road access. Each time, to access the road to my house and the proposed second lot, it's been there 40 years. It's serviceable. I have no problems with it. I've had dump trucks, logging trucks, fire engines, and cars driving over it for 40 years. Approving my short plat should be a very simple process. It should not take 6 months every time for something this simple to be processed. Whoops, I'm out of time, so wrap it up.
Yep,
Okay.
go ahead, wrap it up.
So my request simply is that the board review the difficulties, the problems, you will need to make some administrative changes, adjust some ordinances, and there is a proposal that you increase staffing or change the hours of the planning department, and in my opinion, that would only increase your backlog. You need to flush that backlog in the most expedient way possible. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for your time, sir. All right, so the next person I have is Steve McLean. There you go, sir. Come on up. How you doing there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, I'm here to talk about Gophers 2.
Okay.
I have been engaged in a process for about a year trying to build a house on our family farm, which is about 8 acres. And about a year ago, we filed to get a permit to have inspection come out. And we had a couple county employees and a federal employee come out and look at our property and determine that there are some holes, about 200 mounds on our property, 3 of which they believe belong to a gopher. I'm not sure how they determine that, but they're expert biologists, so of course they can decide that. At any rate, my ask here is for you to consider an opportunity for me to move forward. What I learned is that in order to build on 8 acres, to share my 8 acres with a gopher, I need to have a habitat mitigation plan. And that requires one of 2 things, either the county to have one or to me personally have one. The county's been in process for a number of years, and I've attended several briefings that say that it could be another year or more before we actually have a county plan, which leaves me the opportunity to wait a year or more to figure out how I might build a house on this property. The other option is to work with the federal government to come up with a plan, which I've done. However, that plan requires a third party to oversee some sort of easement on my personal property. 1 acre of my property. I just have to leave the way it is to allow a gopher to potentially live there. I'm willing to do that, but there's no third party willing to oversee it. So I've came and met with staff at the county and asked for them to consider having the county come out once occasionally to certify that I haven't changed my property. If I can get the county to do that, I can move forward with my building plans. So far, I haven't been able to get that issue in front of the commissioners. So I'm asking for you to consider that as an option. Your briefing included a mitigation plan and an interim plan until the county got a larger plan in place. However, I'm here to tell you what I've gone through is the interim plan. If there's no third party to oversee the mitigation in this case, the only option is to pay a construction company who owns property $75,000 an acre to have a mitigation for my construction project. I need your help. I need the county's help, and I think there's already regulations in place that would allow you to do this without even adopting new rules. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next person I have on my list is the Honorable Sheriff from Mason County, Sheriff Casey Salisbury. How you doing, Sheriff?
Thank you. Before I get started, what I came here for, we don't have those pocket gophers, and we'd hope you keep those in your county.
Oh, we're gonna send them your way.
Jeez.
They're safe.
We got them.
A little bit different. I want to thank each one of you. I've waited 28 years. Sheriff Casey Salisbury, Mason County. I've waited 28 years to do this. In the law enforcement business, not often you get to stand before a few people that are on a county commission that all 3 of them are people of integrity. And this is the first time I've had that opportunity since I've been in law enforcement, and especially in the last 10 years. Mr. Blake, you attended a funeral for a person from this office when I worked here in my county. I gained a great deal of respect for you for doing that. Thank you for that. Our commissioners didn't show up to one of our 31-year veterans. Also, thank you for your service. I read about that as well. Commissioner Hutchings, Hutch, I had the opportunity to work with you for many, many years. And I also have a great deal of respect for you. And the thing I'll always remember about you, and I want you to remember this as a commissioner, I know you will, that in all the time that I've known you, no matter how bad a person's behavior was or the circumstances that they were in or how they acted, you've always been known to treat everybody with dignity and respect. And I hope that you will always continue that as a commissioner. I'm sure you will. Last guy up there, first of all, you might recognize something. The collar brass that I wear today was on your shirt, and I wear that every day. You were my sheriff, and I thank you for the opportunities that you provided me. Many, many years ago, you told me that you would hire me if I would do 3 things. The first one was to treat other people with respect and the way you want to be treated in a like situation. The second one was use common sense in all decisions. And the third thing you told me is if I go out there and be the kind of deputy sheriff I need to be in the community, that I should take your job someday. I recall a few years ago, I think Thurston County was the only sheriff's office, or the only county in the state of Washington that has ever had 3 sheriffs in the same office at the same time. Sheriff Gary Edwards, myself, and Sheriff Dan Kimball, sheriff-elect at the time. I guess the only thing last thing I want to add to you is that stop standing up here. You've done it before. I just want you to, I know that you will remember the law enforcement people. I left this county to become sheriff in the next county. I followed your advice. It's been a rough road. It's not easy. And you have a great sheriff here in Thurston County, and you have a great group of deputy sheriffs and a staff here to serve you and the public. And I just want you to remember them with the lessons that all of you have shown me. Thank you so much for being persons of integrity. And I just came here to thank you and to tell you a great job being elected. Thanks.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Okay, so the next person on the list is Mr. John Pettit.
First, before I even start, without starting with that, this is really great. I've actually got to see people feeling good about coming to the commissioners. You know, and that's been a long, long time since anything like that happened. So, once again, for the record, my name's John Pettit. I live out in Rich Road, and I have some follow-up issues to something that we kind of left a couple weeks ago. My position is, of course, is accountability. And I was reviewing again the agenda of today. The agenda of today brings us one of the issues which I have, which is, once again, more money. More money for a budget that happened last year. This is something we're going to have a little problem with, because I want to share with you something here. The action you actually took a couple weeks ago, while I'm still adamantly opposed to it, and I think it's wrong, and by rights you need to take it before a judge, it also violated the requirements for making a transfer within the budget. In order to make a transfer in the budget, under RCW 3640-100, it would provide that the board shall publish notice of the time and date of the meeting in which supplemental appropriation resolution will be adopted, the amount of the appropriation, once each week for 2 consecutive weeks prior to the official meeting that you're going to take action. Certainly, we haven't ever had that publication done. And if you were requesting whether you wanted to know about the element of whether it says, up here it says that it also has anything to do with a transfer or revision within departments. Clearly, this is a transfer revision. You need to take it before a judge and get all of this cleared up, get rid of the way which you did the last one. Now, my other option is to take it, go to a judge, and per another RCW, go ahead and have the action that was taken previously nullified. That's a legal option to take too. I don't want to do that. What I do want you to do is go backwards, clean it up, do it the right way, take all of this effort to transfer money to a judge and handle it appropriately that way. Now, the other issue which I'm going to bring up has to do with a particular building I'd like some information on. There's an interest in purchasing a building. Last year, before another Board of Commissioners, they authorized, and I believe it was through resolution, to negotiate potentially the purchase of a building. I haven't seen any resolution that actually approved the purchase of a building. I do know that there was a effort to transfer funds for the purchase of a building. And there's also a suggestion that there $1.8 million would be available if we happen to sell this other building. This is another budget appropriation question that may be coming in question here also. But I don't think there's 1.8 million by the time you pay off the detention sales tax and the existing bonds left in the 3,400 building.
Can you wrap
I'd
that
like
up?
to know the figures.
Sure, can you wrap that up? Sure. Thank you, John.
So, basically, yeah, I want some more information about the dollars and cents. We do have to have accountability, and lately I haven't been getting much in figures given to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All righty, is there anybody else in the public that'd like to come and address the board? Seeing no one, I'm going to go to item number 2, which is the county manager's update.
Thank you, Commissioners. Related to Mr. Pettit's comments that he provided back in January 10th, as well as today, related to the transfer that you took an action back in January 10th, as well as you have another action item today. Elizabeth Petrich, prosecuting attorney representing the commission, has reviewed this matter, so I would like her to walk you through her review.
Yeah, bring,
Commissioner, I was just asked to look at 130, and in that statute, Mr. Pettit's alleging that under 130, this matter needs to be brought before the court. Is it not on?
Just get it closer to you. Way closer to you, Elizabeth, thank you.
Okay. Is that better?
The microphone?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Now
So
we can hear
the statute that Mr. Pettit is bringing up is RCW 3640 130, which says that certain elected officials cannot basically exceed their appropriations in the budget. And if they do, they need to go, it has to be resolved by the court. There's a case on point on this particular statute that deals with a similar fact pattern, and this is the case that came out of Chelan County, where the sheriff had exceeded his budget appropriation due to the need to pay his on-time officers, or his on-call officers overtime. And so, as you may be aware of in law enforcement, you can't anticipate how much overtime cost you may encounter in a given year. It's an unanticipated cost in your budget. In these types of situations, this statute doesn't apply. And the purpose of this statute is to discourage government officials from being in complete disregard or disregard of their budget. In the Chelan case, the sheriff couldn't have anticipated that he would have these extra costs. So in that case, the statute didn't apply. In this particular situation in front of you, as I understand it, it is similar. It's the Department of Assigned Counselor, Defense Department,
Public
where they
defense.
need to hire basically on-call attorneys to deal with indigent defense, and they can't anticipate in a given year how many defendants will need help. So in this case, that's what happened. There was extra costs related to bringing in these extra services. So in this particular case, that statute does not apply to this situation.
Okay, any questions of Elizabeth?
Nope, it sounds like what you're advising is that we're okay to go ahead with this transfer. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just speaking to the applicability of the statute. I don't give legal advice in public meetings.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions to Elizabeth?
No.
All righty, thank you very much. Anything else, County Manager?
No, and thank you.
All right, the next item we have is the consent items, and I'll take a motion for that.
A3.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent items A through E. Edward. Echo.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent items A through E. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. So next item we have is the department items, which is Public Works, and we have Mr. Scott Davis. There he is. He's going to talk to us about a local agency agreement supplement.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Scott Davis with the Thurston County Public Works Department, current acting county engineer. So I have 3 items on the agenda today. So the first one is requesting the approval of a local agency agreement or local agency agreement supplement 2 for the Rich Road Phase 2 project. And this is from 87th Avenue to just to 500 feet north of Normandy Street. And it's a county road project, under county road project number 61460. So in this request, we're asking the Board of County Commissioners to execute a local agency agreement in the supplement with the Washington State Department of Transportation, obligating nearly $1.35 million in federal construction dollars for a Rich Road Phase 2 project from 87th Avenue to around Normandy Street, which is about a half mile. This project extends improvements that were done on Rich Road from the Deschutes River to 287th Avenue. I think it was completed. Well, it was completed a couple of years ago. And the total project cost is $2 million. The remaining amount of money is coming from the County Road Fund, which totals about $650,000. Let's see here. The project is intended to, the project will widen the travel lanes and add paved shoulders, which don't exist right now. And it's intended to improve primarily safety, but also improve the pavement surface and also provide for ways for pedestrian and bicycles to safely navigate the area. Also for folks to get their mail and things like that and not actually be standing out in the travel lane, which they do right now. So it provides a variety of benefits to the public as well as those who live adjacent to the roadway. The project is within our 2017-2018 Public Works budget. It's also included in our capital facilities plan and county transportation improvement program. And just a few other notes as well about federally funded projects. This is one of the several steps we take when we get federal funds on a project. And so one of the first things is design. So on a federally funded project, we'd actually come before you for a very similar agreement to actually authorize design funding. So the state has 3 different steps for us. One is design, right before right-of-way acquisition, and as well as construction. And so each step along the way, we come before you to ask permission to go to the next step. And each step, once the agreements are signed, it allows the state to reimburse us for our expenditures on those projects. Large projects like this can take several years. For example, the design started on this one in 2013, so it can take some time to get through the process. That includes right-of-way acquisition, which takes time to do appraisals and negotiating with individual property owners. So, so it's not something that we can usually do overnight. Unfortunately, wish we could. And let's see here. I had a few other notes. And then once construction starts, and that's actually the next phase on this, we'll be asking for is generally it's about 8 to 10 months, at least for this one. There's a lot of utility relocations. Actually, we'd start by usually clearing and grubbing the right of way and getting trees and other things, fences out of the way, and then the utilities come in and move the power poles or move the fiber optics or other utilities that might be in conflict with the road widening project or ancillary improvements. I think that's it for this, unless you have any other questions.
Do you have any questions?
I guess the only thing I'd ask is that's in close proximity to a school where kids are walking and riding bikes along the road all the time, right?
That is correct. Yeah, actually, yeah, it ends just right around the school property boundary. That's correct.
Thank you.
All righty. So you have any questions?
No.
Okay, take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve local agency agreement supplement 2, requesting obligation of $1,349,694 in federal construction funding for the Rich Road Southeast Phase 2 projects, CRP number 61460, and authorize the interim director of Public Works to sign the local agency agreement supplement 2 and any subsequent amendments and administrative changes not to exceed 20% of the original agreement.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. I got to ask a favor.
Yes.
Mr. Commissioner Hutchins has to leave, and I'm going to excuse him from here, and then we'll continue on. Is that all right?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you. Right.
Yep,
Okay.
sure.
All right, so the next item is requesting, or is a resolution for a call for sealed bids for the Rich Road Phase 2 project. Again, this is from 87th Avenue to about 500 feet north of Normandy Street under County Road Project number 61460. For the record, I'll probably reading some of the same information you just heard, but the total project cost for this is roughly $2.5 million. So the construction's $2 million total. So and the project length is about a half mile. So these road widening projects aren't inexpensive, generally speaking. So all right. So we're requesting permission for the Board of County Commissioners to advertise for the contract for Rich Road Phase 2. Between 87th Avenue and Normandy Street. The project is an extension of the previous Rich Road project between the Deschutes River and 87th Avenue. This project will improve safety for drivers, pedestrians, bicycles, and as mentioned earlier, it's near the existing East Olympia Elementary School and actually also connects into the post office along Rich Road as well. The project includes rebuilding the roadway to accommodate a 12-foot driving lane, including a 6-foot paved shoulder in each direction. The contract will be advertised in the Olympian, the Seattle Daily Journal of Commerce, and posted on the Builders Exchange website, which is an online form for submitting bid documentation. Public Works has received $1.35 million in federal funding from the Federal Surface Transportation Program to put towards this $2 million construction project. The remaining $650,000 will come from the County Road Fund. This project is in the 2017-2018 Public Works budget. Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, the Capital Facilities Plan, is consistent with our county strategic plan as well. I think that's it. Any questions?
Any questions?
No.
Nope. All right. I'll take a motion.
I would move to approve resolution calling for sealed bids and authorizing the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the construction of the Rich Road Phase 2, 87th Avenue to 500 feet north of Normandy Street, project CRP number 61460. Upon receipt of authorization from the Washington State Department of Transportation to use federal funding for construction.
Second. It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Scott, you got another one?
Yep, one more, so then it'll be done. So, all right, so this is for requesting approval of a local agency agreement for the Pacific Avenue and Yelm Highway Mid-Block Crossing Study under a County Road Project 61503. We're requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to execute a local agency agreement with the Washington Department of Transportation, obligating $75,000 in federal surface transportation program improvement funding for Pacific Avenue and Yelm Highway mid-block crossings. The remaining $25,000 of the total of $100,000 project or study will come from the County Road Fund. The purpose of this study is to enhance pedestrian and bicycle safety on Pacific Avenue and Yelm Highway by identifying locations for mid-block crossings, installation of additional sidewalk ramps, and accessible facilities. Currently, sidewalks exist, but only at some of the signalized intersections, and those are fairly long spacing between those, but we have several intercity transit bus stops, school bus stops, and a variety of things in between those signalized locations. Let's see, the project is in our 2017-2018 budget and the current Transportation Improvement Program, as well as our Capital Facilities Program. And as I mentioned earlier, there's several steps in federally funded project. This is actually the first step. So we just listened to the second, kind of the last steps, I guess, in regards to Rich Road, but this is one of the first steps we take. And the intent of this study is to take a look at locations, what those locations might be to hopefully provide the maximum benefit to install some mid-block crosswalks, what safety treatments that should be associated with those. In addition to that, since the work will be done this year, hopefully position the county to be competitive for statewide pedestrian safety grants that will come out in 2018. So it's kind of a precursor to requesting construction funding in the next calendar year. Any questions?
Any questions for Scott? Nope. Good stuff. Go ahead. Make a motion.
I move to approve the local agency agreement requesting obligation of $75,000 in federal funding for the Pacific Avenue and Yelm Highway mid-block crossing study. CRP number 61503. And authorize the interim director of public works to sign the local agency agreement and any subsequent amendments and administrative changes not to exceed 20% of the original agreement.
Second, it's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good afternoon.
You bet. Same to you. So next we have resource stewardship, and it's a contract to drill monitoring wells in the Scatter Creek area, Rochester, Grand Mound. And I think we have Mr. Jim Bachmeyer. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Got this right? Before you today is a request to authorize the Director of Resource Stewardship to execute a contract with Holt Services, Inc. for drilling 8 wells in the Scatter Creek Basin. This really follows on an action and authorization from last July where the board authorized us to solicit bids for this work. We solicited bids from 7 contractors, 2 responded. The apparent low bid was from Holt Services for $126,425.60, including sales tax. The purpose of these wells is to monitor the sole source aquifer down in the Scatter Creek Basin. That's an area from Tenino to Rochester and throughout that corridor. When we refer to a sole source aquifer, it really means that from the surface down to bedrock approximately 100 feet, that's the known aquifer for that area. So the purpose of these wells then monitors the water quality for the community, provides us some early warning system, but also allows us to anticipate future water supply questions. So these wells, if approved, would be drilled within the next 2 months. So we request authorization for the director to execute that contract. Questions?
You have questions?
No.
I do. So can you just kind of give the audience and ourselves a little bit of background on why the 8 drills and what the attempts or what we're trying to do with the 8 wells so that we can understand the goals and the objectives?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So currently, the program has 38 wells that are at basically residences, and those wells are used on a regular basis. So the measuring and metering of those wells creates some data inaccuracies and inconsistency. These new wells provide a common area of understanding with no impacts from withdrawal. The important thing is that we will transition from those 38 wells to the 8 wells and over time reduce our annual costs, but also make sure that there's a continuity of data to translate over to the new wells so that we understand that we're using the same information.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion?
I move to authorize the Director of Resource Stewardship to execute a contract with Holt Services Incorporated for drilling 8 wells in the Scatter Creek area for a base price of $126,425.60, and any change orders not to exceed 10%, or $12,642.56, not for changes in the scope of work, for a total project cost not to exceed $139,068.16.
Second. It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. All righty, one of the final items we have here is the Commissioners and County Managers items. And so Thurston County Public Defense budget increase, and I think we have, is it Romero who's going to?
Yeah, I will fill for Robin since she had to leave. First of all, I would like to offer a friendly amendment to the action. Is not the Office of Assigned Counsel, is the Office of Public Defense. If you may want to strike that out on your action, please.
Okay, sure.
As stated, this action is requesting to transfer $110,000 in appropriations from the general fund non-departmental to the Office of Public Defense. As of this morning, January 24, 2017, the Thurston County Office of Public Defense has 2016 payments due in the excess of their 2016 fourth quarter amendment appropriation authority, which equates to just about $368,000 in total. The over expenditure is caused by professional services bills being higher than anticipated. Professional services include panel attorneys, expert witnesses, special investigations, and other services related to public defense cases. As Elizabeth Petridge stated early in the meeting, those are cases that are declared to be indigent defenders, and it's a little bit difficult to put your hands around how many cases will come along in any given year. So back on January 10, 2017, you took an action to authorize $275,000 to meet the obligation of these bills. And so at this point, the difference between the $368,000 and the $275,000 that you approved is $92,000. However, the fiscal year, the 13-month, as we call it, is not closed yet. So the $110,000 request is to cover any other anticipated bills that we might receive by the end of the week. Elizabeth Petridge highlighted the requirements of RCW 364130. Also, in the Thurston County 2016 budget, which was approved under Resolution 15223, Item 4 states that upon action by the Board of County Commissioners, the county manager or designee may distribute to any general fund departments amounts consistent with said decisions from the general fund non-departmental reserve line items. And I'll stop there, and I entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
No.
All right.
I would move to approve the transfer of $110,000 in appropriation authority from general fund non-department to public defense.
Second, it's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. Thank you very much. So the next item we have for 6B is for commissioners to report back on some of the work sessions and some of the committees they sit on, and just kind of give an overall view of where they been for the last 2 weeks with the public. And I think Commissioner Edwards is going to go first.
Okay. Do you want the date that all this took place, each
Sure.
individual date
Yeah.
you're trying to?
That's right.
Okay. Wednesday, January 11th, the State of the Community activity with the Chamber of Commerce, in which Commissioner Blake was the speaker, and met with citizens to discuss our marijuana ordinance and the problems therein. Thursday, January 12th, met with Under Sheriff Braniff in regards to same. Friday, January 13th, a private sewer summit for 4 hours conducted in Thurston County, trying to look at new technologies involving disposal of sewer systems that would not be hazardous to the environment. Tuesday, January 17th, Fire Commissioners meeting. On Wednesday, January 18th, EMS Council and Medic One. Thursday, January 17th, met with Judge Murphy and the Administrator of the Court, Pam Hartman, discussing all those issues that some of which we just talked about now, and those in the future, and courthouse security. Met with a local caterer to discuss health department policies, in which there were some adjustments made to help citizens that are catering in the catering business. And conducted an interview for a college student. Friday, January 20th, the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, SETI, and the Nisqually River Council, in which we talked about the possibilities of limiting pollution in the Nisqually River and the Puget Sound. And I guess I'd expand on that a little bit. One of my main concerns there is that our neighbors to the north continue to pump raw sewage, Vancouver and Victoria, into the Strait of Juan de Fuca, comes right down the Puget Sound. Salmon that are swimming both as they're growing up, going north to Alaska, and coming south, coming back to the Nisqually River, swim through that cloud of sewage both ways, and pick up contaminants, and it's been going on for 100 years, and I really think we need to do something about that with our neighbors to the north.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so I'll take the opportunity to address the public in terms of a couple of committees I sit on and some of the things we've been doing here in the county. Tuesday, January 17th, the three commissioners gathered here in a public forum, and we have what we call a commissioners planning session, which the public is totally invited to come and attend. But on this day, we kind of set some of the direction of where we're going to kind of implement over time. And some of the topics we talked about was land use, and that's a huge subject to cover. We couldn't get it all done in one day, but it could be anything from the Manzama Pocket Gopher to Salmon Passage to buildable lands, and just how that might look over 2017, 2018 timeframe. Obviously, there's some other things such as in organization development, redevelopment here within the county, how we're structured, and just where we're at, where we think we're going in terms of departments and interdepartment overlap. And of course, we always cover the budget. We got to know where the money is or isn't going in terms of revenues and expenditures, and that takes a little bit of time to get through. And of course, complementary to that is the EDC, which is the Economic Development Council, and just how we want to participate that in terms of driving the economic engine here in Thurston County. Aside from that, I attended, along with Commissioner Hutchings, the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization Board. And some of the things we're talking about there in terms of the near future is we're so excited about getting what we call licensure status. And that way we can facilitate some of the actions and activities on staff. Very small amount, and that's going to be very large at all. But it helps us to concentrate and focus on certain programs we're looking for to get the quality we're looking for. One of them could be nurse-family partnership, and there's a whole host of them that we're considering. So the licensure status we expect to get here either this summer or just shy of this summer. We're also talking about how we will integrate, or fully integrate is really the key words there, with a managed care organization, the MCO, and that's a number of those out there. And so with the behavioral health and chemical dependency and the managed care organization, it's really going to be a asset to Thurston County and Mason County in terms of bringing what they call the whole person scenario in terms of mental health care and primary care. But there's more to follow on that. I'm also a member of the WASAC, Washington State Association of Counties is what that stands for, in terms of a board member there. And as you can imagine, the legislation is in right now, and so for the last couple of days been running around on behalf of Thurston County, testifying or supporting or reinforcing certain issues that we want to see here passed in Thurston County or within the state. And some of them include transportation, environmental stuff such as the exempt water wells, homelessness and housing issues, and then even one was the medicine take back, where prescribed drugs are dropped off at certain locations, and we want to expand that footprint a little bit. And so just how we go about funding that and the structure in conjunction with the state. But that's just a couple of items that we work on. Other thing is that I sit on the wonderful meeting we had with the Community Investment Partnership, the CIP, and the Housing Action Team, where we were able to lay out our our plan of action, if you will, and have it funded here in February by the CIP. We did that the other night, and it was great to show how capital dollars are going to work, and then had non-capital dollars are going to work in terms of getting what we call purchased outcomes. So we try to get away from the peanut butter. That's kind of a colloquial way of saying it. Spread it all around, all out and around, where we get very little in the return, and do our homework and analysis and put the dollars right where they're supposed to be to get certain measurable outcomes. And yeah, it doesn't always lend to everybody getting everything that they need in terms of the providers, but nonetheless you get the prime essence of what we're looking for, be it support services or some sort of housing action. And it was really good because the CIP over time and the housing action team and the other action teams on the Thurston Thrives have been waiting for this conversation for the last year and a half, and it was really exciting to have that come to fruition. So the last thing, the three commissioners, we were able to attend in Rochester, Post 49, a dedication and a memorial to Chris Nelson, who I think it was private first class Chris Nelson, who lost his life in Iraq as a result of IED, improvised explosive device, and the overwhelming turnout there just packed Sweet Hall, and it just showed how this community comes together in terms of commitment, dedication, and support for families who live here in Thurston County. And we really, really had a great appreciation for what that represents in terms of love and care. So with that in mind, any other comments or questions? Huh?
The only thing I would say, maybe for the general public out there that is happening to watch this, is it is really tough to sit up here and listen to some of the explanations that our citizens have to go through in dealing with government and not respond back to them and not interact. But the reality is we could just never get the business done. And I want to assure the public out there that we do take those testimonies to heart and look into each and every one of those issues that we hear about at public testimony.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. All righty, so I'm going to turn to the county manager, and he'll review the calendar and some other items for the public.
Thank you, Commissioners. I just want to walk you through your combined calendars, and that means that at least 2 commissioners will be attending those meetings they are going to be highlighting. You may have on your individual calendars, individual meetings, and those will not be part of my report today. Beginning today at Tuesday 24th from 6:30 to 8, Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Hutchins will be attending the Lone Lake Management District Annual Community Meeting. Tomorrow, Wednesday, January 25th, at 9 in the morning, you will have a briefing on marijuana regulations, and that will begin the conversation as to how this regulation will be implemented down the road. At 10 tomorrow, you will have an executive session that is related to RCW 4230110I, and that is related to the road fund diversion issue. At 2 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the PAC Center, and they will be presenting a plan as to how they will like to open the center.
What does PAC stand for?
Thank you. The Permit Assistance Center.
That's right. Okay.
And that will be a plan as to how they can extend the hours they're currently operating under.
Sure.
At 5:30 tomorrow, you're scheduled to attend the Thurston County Distinguished Leaders Award Celebration, which is located here at the Red Lion Hotel. Moving on to Thursday, we have 10 in the morning, the Commissioners check-in, where you will be entertaining many different agenda items, and I will publish that agenda by tomorrow afternoon. And I believe also at 11:30 you have a closed session scheduled for you. Will you have some feedback on some of the union contracts that is closing or nearing approval? On February 27, that day usually is reserved for your interjurisdictional staff and constituents meetings, so you may have many appointments with your constituents that day. Moving on to next week, Monday, January 30th, at 3:30 in the afternoon, Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Edwards will be attending the Thurston Regional Planning Council, TRPC. And then you'll come back here at 10 in the afternoon, with the Sheriff's Office will provide you with the briefing on the police allocation model. They have been working for a while. And then that will take us to Tuesday, January 31st, which is at 8:30. You will have an executive session to relate to RCW 423110 related to personnel matters. And then from 9 to 11:45, you will have a Board of County Commissioners agenda setting, which you'll review the upcoming board meetings, and then that will take us to the next board meeting next Tuesday.
Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, so with that in mind, I would just like to say thank you very much to the Katie Gerard and the Yes Vets coming today. It was very appreciative, and for everybody to take care of each other out there. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the Board of County Commissioners meeting of January 24th, 2017.
Second, it's been moved to second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.